I heard that Big he hid from Puffy that he was writing for Little Kim.
Um, well, Big didn't hide. You know what I'm saying? Like, that his job wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything when it comes to any assumptions of that, you know what I'm saying, you would probably blame me. And then I would probably blame Jacob York because he was really the person who was dealing with all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But Big was just, you do what you do, I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Big was he was the dopest A&R genius. I'm talking about genius. You know what I'm saying? To the point where he showed me how to really be successful at it. You know what I'm saying? Cause at one point Big passes away and now I'm forced to, okay, what is Un gonna do? Right? And so what I do is what would Big do? Right? So in all my understanding and the teaching and the knowledge, I go and I put a record together called Ladies Night. And I go find a sample, I go find the producer, I go handpick all of the talent for the record. I shoot this amazing video and it works, right? And so even after that record, I'm still challenged with, well, what are you gonna do now? Right. And so fast forward to some of the things that clash with me and Cam when Cam says a lot of things about um, you know, about how maybe aggressive I was towards my vision of making Confessions of Fire versus his vision of making Confessions of Fire. Now, to some degree, Cam is correct, but I just want to make it clear that my only firmness with Cam at the time was in order for you to sell records, you're going to have to make a single, right? And coming from where you come from and being the rapper who you haven't really grasped the whole idea of what that means and what that takes, right? So, yes, you're doing an incredible job. You're an incredible job. I'm challenging you on me and Cam used to have this inside joke about how he turns in a record or he raps some bars for me and I give him these percentages on what I think that he was on the record. So he never really got to 100%. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, you at 65%. Right? So it was like this mental challenge, right? But he was delivering incredible records. 357, all of these street records, that was what Biggie wanted to do to counter Puff, right? He was doing what he needed to do. But yo, bro, in order to sell units, right? Because if you Cam's and his whole team is frustrated because at the time Mason them was going platinum and Mace doing 2 million albums. So he's assuming that I'm at least gonna go platinum, right? And it's like, but singles make you go platinum, right? So at some point, through these challenges of that's not a single, that's not a single, that's not a single. These are all dope street records. Yes, we're gonna put them out. We're gonna shoot videos at no cost to you. It's not gonna affect your budget because I'm gonna take it from the soundtrack budget. So none of this all of these songs and videos that you putting out, it's at no recoupment to you, right? So I'm using what I know how to market and promote all of y'all together, using this soundtrack money and all of these things, right? So all of a sudden I say, well, let me go back to how I was taught. So I go and I find the track masters, right? The producers. And I'm in the studio and I tell Tone, he plays me some tracks and I say, well, Tone, I don't believe you're a real producer. Produce something in front of me, right? So he starts to producing this record from scratch. And as he's producing the record, I say, yo, I got a hook for that. So I start singing My Horse and Carriage is for hire, senor. So now Cam goes in there, he does his verse, he does the hook, the shit comes out dope. Mace comes in the studio, hears the record and says, yo, I need to do that hook. So I'm like, man, first thing in my mind is I'm saying, I'm gonna have to go through Puff. I'm gonna have to hear his bullshit. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fucking manipulate him to let me get the video clearance and all of that. See, Mace tells a story about he told Cam that, yo, Cam, I want $50,000. Cam gets upset, but he tells Cam, yo, we can split the money. You know what I'm saying? Like they got the money and I didn't want to do it. And I'm saying, nah, that's not the case. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because back when we was at Undeers, Puffy was giving me so many problems. Well, giving Biggie and me so many problems with clearance of him rapping with Junior Mafia, which was his group. He was rapping on everything Bad Boy, right? And then helping Puff with all his artists. So now when it comes down to him wanting to rap for his own artists, he want to give us a problem, right? So he gives us clearance on Players Anthem. He gives us clearance on Get Money. And when Crush on You comes up, he says you can't get video clearance. That's why Big's not in the video. He's only on the audio. But if Big had been in the video, it would have sold a gazillion albums, right? And I knew this because I was learning the business as I went along, right? So I'm saying by the time we get to Horse and Carriage, there's no way that I won't pay for Mace to be in the video. I just went through that with Horse and Carriage and know by him not being in the video, I lost a lot of money, right? So don't make that the excuse that didn't want to pay the money. It was I paid you 50 to be on the record. The video wouldn't have been you know what I'm saying? Because you would have sold Cam 1,000,000+ albums. You know what I'm saying? You would, because it would have maximized. And then to Cam's credit, Cam, for his next single, Cam was at gold, right? So we was trying to at least ship platinum, right? He had scanned the gold album by then, right? I think we was maybe shipped 700 by now. His next single was going to be with Usher, right? I was going to get Usher, who was at 5 million albums, to be in the video, right? I had already talked to L.A. Reid. It was all a go. Cam decides that he doesn't want to get on a plane to go to London because of his loyalty to Jim Jones, right? Because that's his man. And if Jim can't go, I'm not going. So Epic said, shut his album down and put him back in the studio. And he started making SD. You know what I'm saying? Now, they'll tell you we mad because we didn't go platinum. I just told you why you didn't go platinum or go platinum my way. You know what I'm saying? Like if y'all just had to just follow the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Like I already had Mace cleared in the video for 357. He didn't rap on the record, but he was in the video. You see what I'm saying? He was at 2 million albums by then. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a lot of clarity that needs to be brought. And like I said, I'm gonna tell it on Full Street. I'm gonna go through the steps and you're gonna see in detail. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Charli Baltimore, I would have, if Irv, God bless the dead, if Irv had a gave me that Ja Rule Ashanti record, Ja Rule Ashanti, Charli Baltimore, I would have sold at least 6 million albums worldwide on her. She was ready to go. She was already marketed worldwide. Germany was number one on top of the pops. Um, I went to Irv and said, yo, I just need a single. I done try everybody, the RZA, Puff, everybody. I couldn't get this find a single. And I didn't do it my way. I was doing it these other producers' way, right? So I never really went in and made my single on her, right? So when I decided to go to Irv, I said, yo, I need a single. Irv at the time was charging me $30,000 a track. I give him 15,000. Charlie goes to the studio with him. Next thing you know, I get a call. My lawyer calls me and said, Charli Baltimore wants off entertainment and she wants to sign to Murder Inc. And I say, you know what? Fuck it. Let it go. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm already in the hole. X amount of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and because her album didn't come out, allow her to keep getting these albums, right? Pharrell came to me when she was on entertainment and said, send it to the studio with me and I'm gonna do the whole album. The problem was is that he wanted one of his artists to write it. And it was a little homeboy from Philly, and she said no. And the next thing you know, wants to do all these pop records on me. And I'm saying, nah, Biggie just didn't really give me no plan on you. You know what I'm saying? I had a plan on, we had the plan on C's, which Puff, they couldn't execute because they didn't know the plan, right? So I'm hoping every Primo, her album had everybody on there. You know what I'm saying? Like as producers, you know what I'm saying? Like the Locks, Nori, Cam, every Ghostface, everybody was a part of this album. But and the record probably did a lot more for Ja Rule than it did for Charli Baltimore. She would have sold 6 million albums if they had to gave me the single. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, after that, you can complain, you can say whatever you want to say, but you went from me to Irv to Scott Storch to Trick and them, all credible people. None of them could make an album on you, but I'm the only unwanted me to be this and unwanted me to be that. And I'm saying, well, if you listen to Iggy Azalea, she got the same tone and cadence, and she's doing numbers. You know what I'm saying? On some pop shit. You know what I mean? So, nah, Nicki and them doing pop shit. The future was that. You know what I mean? So, nah, we gonna change some of this narrative. Like I said, let's just call it what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know when I interviewed Charlie Baltimore, she did tell me that she wasn't happy with the music that she came out with when she was on your label. And I do recall Cam, he made some comments about his first album, Confessions of Fire, saying that he don't perform songs from it.
Well, I mean, if he had performed records from Confession of Fire, he would have done a better job at the verses in Madison Square Garden. Because all of those records from Confession of Fire was number one records in New York City. I'm talking about huge. 357, Pull It, all of his records. The Dipset records, they were not New York records. They was out of town. If you had did this show in Ohio, you probably would have won. But you're in New York City and you don't play none of your New York City records. I would have started the record with Pull It. I'd have started the record with Pull It and then said, yeah, I'm rapping with y'all daddy, and then dropped the microphone off of Pull It and walked out the fucking garden. Because that record would have killed that building. And when you heard DMX growl, it would have been over. So, no, you don't have to do those records. You don't have to turn up that energy like the Locks did. We in New York City. So, yeah, that's like fucking, you did it at the tunnel. You did it at the Summer Jam when you ain't have no album out, when you was the number one record on Hot 97. All of these records that you don't care to do, and how big they were to your career. Like, I don't care what anybody has to say. Yes, there was. I only wanted a single. That it is you are amazing on that album, bro. Your lyrics, your telling stories, clever bars. It has everything that a hip hop album should have. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can make this and that, but you gonna learn how to make old boy. You gonna learn how to make a single. And that's what he did. He learned how to make a single. And then he goes and put all of this, what he learned from and put all that trauma on Jewels. You know what I'm saying? And push Jewels just as hard as I pushed him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what happens. You know what I mean? So yeah.